All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. Okay, so as you can see, we got some more parts in. Today, my brother sent this neck he wants me to put on. This is a Warmoth. We are definitely going to have to do some fret ends. They did a pretty good job with it, but I'll check the level and everything. And there's also, let me just pop it off here. It's a fairly tight fit, so should fit nice. Hopefully you can see that right there. There's a really small dent in it. And I'm not even sure if that's just a deformity in the wood or whatever, but we're going to try to steam that out and I'll show you that. So hopefully you guys can see that. Let me try and move it around here. But it looks like this was a project he had around for a little while. It's got a little bit of dirt built up. Doesn't look like it was ever mounted to a guitar. But this is a Warmoth neck, and it is the Warmoth radius. So this is, I believe it's a 10 to 16 radius. So 10 all the way up to the 12th fret, and then it flattens out to a 16. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that on camera. It's not extremely noticeable, but maybe if you look down, you can see it a little better. So obviously, he's got the Floyd Rose neck. So this has your, he's going to have the Floyd Rose bridge on the body over here. So he's got the locking nut. This little thing, which I never understood why it's here. And then this has, looks like Goto 510s. So it looked like some pretty decent things, some decent tuning pegs or tuners, non-locking, which doesn't matter because he's got the locking nut. But it obviously has the, Fender style, licensed Fender headstock shape. Feels like these are loose. Okay, maybe it was just that first one. Got the nice Fender headstock shape. It's in really good shape. Looks like I don't know if he had Warmoth do this or he did it himself, but it feels unfinished. But they put like a reddish stain on there. So as you can see, when we put it on here, it doesn't match perfectly. So I just emailed my brother pictures of it with it installed, from upside down. So I guess we can have you guys look at that real quick. And you can kind of see there's a pretty big difference, but a lot of times you'll have these natural bodies and you'll have a roasted maple neck too. So it, it all depends on what he's looking for and if it bothers him or not. And just for reference, here's a, white sheet of paper, just kind of give you a better idea of what the difference is. So we are going to do some work on this. This thing now has about 6 or 7, I believe it's 6 coats. So I'm going to go one more. We've had a lot of humidity the last couple of days out here. So I haven't been putting too many coats on it. And it's actually built up really nicely. So hopefully you can see that shine on there. And this one has to be scuffed down again before we do another. But it's definitely looking nice. So I sent him a picture, which I will try to put into this video, with a pick guard on it. So let me walk over here to the toolbox. Hopefully my microphone has enough reach, and it does. So I'll put on the pick guard that I put on for him and showed him. And then you guys can kind of get a better idea of what this thing is going to look like. So here's the pick guard. This was pulled out of another Strat that I had with a Floyd Rose. So let's go ahead and place this here. Doesn't really fit too well right here. I think this this wiring is going to have to be rerouted a little bit. Let's try like that. But no, that just made it worse. So we will figure that out later, but we'll just place it on here just for now, just for reference. Oh, there it goes. It popped right in. So you kind of get the idea. Let me put this under here real quick of what this thing is going to look like. I hope you guys can see that. All right. So you can kind of see what this thing is going to look like. Let me push this down a little bit more so you can see a little bit more of the guitar. And then we'll just try and pan over here a little bit. I guess that's not going to work. I'm going to have to pull it off the mount. So we're going to get a little shaky here. So, and you can see all the junk I have on this table. All my tools that I pulled out for fixing the frets on this thing. So you can kind of see what it's, you kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like when it's put together. And in my opinion, I think it's going to look pretty good. He might go with a different pick guard. This is just one I had laying around, so I just wanted to kind of give him an idea of what it's going to look like. And once you put that bridge in there, it's going to cover up a little bit more of that body, but it's still going to look pretty nice. And you can still see some of the kind of greenish color that's coming in through there. So nice neck. The fret ends were not done. We are going to use a couple tools depending on how bad it is. One of the things I like to use, and I just got a different a whole nother batch of them in, is these. So we're gonna check the fret level, we're gonna check the neck, make sure it's straight. And this one, because it's a Floyd Rose, okay, it doesn't have it up here. All right, perfect. This is the vintage, or I believe it's the either vintage modern or modern series. So this one has, and this also was on my baby blue Strat. There's your main truss rod adjustment right there. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then you have the side adjustment, which I showed you in my Strat video. So you do all your major adjustments right here. So you bring it in as close to level as possible. And then you can mount it, put the strings on, and then you can do all your fine adjustments here. And it's the same thing. Right is righty tighty, lefty loosey. So obviously you tighten it, you're gonna get that bow, you're gonna get the bow like this. You loosen it, it's gonna give you that neck relief. So all in all, this thing looks pretty nice. And I believe he said these were like medium tall frets, and they feel like it. They're fairly tall, but they're not wide, so they're not like jumbo frets by any means. They're kind of like a medium, closer to a medium jumbo. But they actually feel pretty good. We'll see how it feels. Should make it real easy to play. So we will have more to follow on this. I'll walk you guys through the fret thing. Oh, back to the tools real quick. I got these from StuMac. So these have 3 different grades, and I talked about this in another video too. So if I have to do a fret level and all that, which hopefully I won't have to do, it might just be some minor fret leveling. So we'll go through with a fret rocker. So let me pull out some of those tools. Also, I got a new set of these. These I bought off of, what was it? I believe it was Amazon. So these are kind of the same thing. So you can see they got the black and white, but then they have a pink and like a gray side. So this has actually 4 different grits. So, and it actually tells you on here step 1. You can see right here it says step 2. So you know which one to use first, and then it'll bring it down to a really, really nice polish. And let's see what else. So I have a couple more of the other style here. If we have to, we might have to use this fret beveler, but it looks like they've been beveled. But afraid I'm gonna cut my finger on this thing. So this thing just goes on like this. Kind of go back and forth. The good thing is it's not finished, and then it's rosewood too. So if you scratch a rosewood a little bit, we can just polish it right up using this. So once you put this side on, and actually let me just show you right here, since these are pretty good, you might be able to see the difference. Normally I would tape this off before I do this, but we're gonna condition and do a bunch of stuff on this fretboard. So I don't know if you can pick that up, but it polishes it pretty nice. And these are stainless steel also. I forgot to mention that. So these are, a little bit harder than your normal frets, and they're not going to get quite as shiny as, the nickel ones. So they have more of a, almost like a grayish tint to them. This is one of the other tools we're going to use. This thing has a safe edge on two sides. This one has actually got a little bit of a texture to it. This is where it's been milled. And this side is perfectly smooth. So what you do is you put this on the side of the fret and you go at about a 45 angle, and then you kind of turn it as you go. So you're going to push it forward, turn it. So start at about a 30, maybe 30, yeah, I'd say somewhere between 30 and 45, all depends on how bad it is. You push it forward and then you kind of turn it. Push forward and turn. So what you're doing is you're taking that fret edge and you're rounding off these two corners, and then when you run your hands across it, oh, that's smooth already. You don't have to worry about those. That one right there is done. So those are the main tools we're going to use. If we have to do the fret leveling job, I have several tools that I'm going to have to use on this, since this is a compound radius. So I know I have a 10 block. I believe it's an 8-inch block. I can probably cut one in half because I think I have two, and that's the reason why I got two. So we'll level this one off, make sure everything's good, check it with a fret rocker, and then we're going to level this one off with a 16, which I believe I have a 14 or a 16 in there. And then we have this tool. I believe this one is from Strat too. So this one right now is set with jumbo frets. The last job I did was on the white Ibanez. I believe that was a RG2 or something like that. So that had some frets. So I've got a couple different sizes on this. And here's the fret rocker. Strat, as you can see. So for those of you who haven't seen this, these are also a great thing to have. This will tell you what the radius is, and they're all embossed or stamped. Let me just pull this off and I can show you guys a little bit better. So these are embossed with the sizes. I have them by the most common, the most common one. So I've got 10, 12, 9.5, 7 1/4, 14, 15, 16, and then all the way up to a 20. So you can buy these individually, or you can also, buy them as a set. Up to you. I figure since I do repairs on everything from Telecaster, which I built one with a 7 1/4, and I've worked on my friend's Ibanez's, which have, are more like a 16. So the fret rocker, I'll walk you through this again. You start up here, you start with a wider thing. I don't know where you guys can start seeing from, but you start with the wider thing, and then as you move down, you don't want to span more than 3 to 4 frets. So then you move down to the shorter one, and you rock it back and forth after you've perfectly leveled the fret board. So you don't necessarily want to go on the frets. My level across here, and then I will check each one with a feeler gauge and multiple feeler gauges, and see what the gap is between about 4 or 5 of them, and then I'll check it all the way down to make sure it's perfectly level. Lock that thing in, check it with this, and then go from there. The other things we have to do on this too is, once we put it together too, we're going to check this nut if we have to adjust the height. Also, I have these spacers that are made just for Floyd Rose, and they actually have a little knots that's cut away, so they fit around these little posts, and get that thing set up just right. And we're going to go for about 20 thousandths at the first fret, and then everything will be good to go. Shoots, all right, till next time. This has already been too long. Shoots, thank you very much, appreciate it. Look forward to guiding you guys through this build and seeing you guys through this thing. If you guys have any comments or suggestions, let me know. Probably the next video I'm going to work on getting this thing out of here. Hopefully that's in the shot. This is at the 8th fret. There's a little dent right there. So soldering iron and a wet cloth should get that right out. So I have a nice Weller soldering iron right over here with an adjustable temperature. So we'll be using that for that. Okay, shoots, aloha.